So, if you're the one trying to guide a business on AI, you know the pressure is absolutely on to deliver real results. But what if most of what we're calling AI strategy is really just expensive theater? Well, you're in the right place. We're about to break down 10 powerful principles from a post by Tyler Small, inspired by the legendary strategist Richard Rumelt, to help you turn your AI plans from a costly performance into actual measurable money in the bank. I mean, does this feel painfully familiar? You see all the potential, you launch these exciting pilots, and then they just kind of fizzle out. It is a massive source of frustration for leaders and consultants everywhere. But here's the thing. The problem isn't the technology. It's the strategy, or, the total lack of one. Okay, so here's the absolute biggest mistake most companies make. A bad strategy is just a vague wish list. Something like, we're going to adopt AI in 2025. A good strategy, on the other hand, starts with a razor-sharp, super specific diagnosis of a real problem. For example, our sales are stalling because it takes 9 days to build proposals. See the difference? One is just a wish. The other, that's a real target you can actually hit. So, how do we fix this? Well, the answer isn't some brand new, super complex AI framework. Nope. It's a timeless, strategic foundation that has always worked. And this is where we bring in the genius of Richard Rummel and his core idea for what makes any strategy successful. It's called the strategy kernel, and it boils down to just three simple parts. First, you need a diagnosis that really gets to the heart of the challenge. Second, you need a guiding policy that lays out your overall approach. And third, you need a set of coherent actions, the specific steps you're going to take. The key thing to get is this isn't a tech framework, it's a thinking framework, and it's the absolute key to making AI pay off. So how do we actually apply this classic idea to the wild world of AI? Well, we've boiled down the 10 core principles from the source material into a clear, actionable guide we're calling the 5-star AI plan. Think of this as your roadmap, the thing that takes you from confusion to clarity and, most importantly, to real results. All right, here's how it works. This is your path from expensive theater to money in the bank. First, you diagnose and focus on one real problem. Then, 2, you take deliberate action with pilots that actually have a purpose. 3, you build a smart foundation. You earn your way to big infrastructure. You don't just buy it all up front. 4, and this is crucial, you get shared ownership with the business. And finally, number 5, you measure and prove your value relentlessly every single month. Okay, that's the big picture. But what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of what it means to execute with real intent when you're trying to get these things off the ground. Let's go back to that diagnosis because it is so important. Adopt AI is a recipe for disaster and wasted money. But look at the good example. It's powerful. It names the specific bottleneck, proposals taking 9 days, and it sets a clear goal. Use an AI assistant to cut that time by 40%. Honestly, if you can't state your problem this crisply, you're not selling a strategy. You're just selling theater. All right, principle number 2 is all about avoiding what I call tool sprawl. Don't just make a list of cool-sounding tech. A good strategy forces you to be disciplined. One tool, tied to one owner, measured by one KPI, inside one workflow. That simple little rule stops you from buying a garage full of expensive toys you never really use. Now, this next one is how you kill what we call zombie pilots. You know the ones, the cool demo that wows everyone in a meeting but then just shuffles around forever and never goes anywhere. From day one, every single pilot needs a clear go or no-go gate. Define success, set a deadline, and have a concrete plan for what happens next. No more, we'll see where it goes. And please, don't just use AI to write stuff. The real game-changing power comes when AI does stuff. Think about it. Instead of just helping draft an email, can your AI automatically update your CRM, open a support ticket, and message the right person? You've got to think in terms of actions, not just words. That's where the serious leverage is. And this is a big one. AI can never just be an IT project. Why? Because the real value lives in the day-to-day workflows of the business. If sales ops co-owns the project and sales reps are actually compensated for using the tool, guess what? You get adoption. If IT owns it alone, you just get a shrug and an empty dashboard. Okay, when it comes to execution, you have to be ruthless about accountability. And that brings us to the number you see right here, 1. That's how many business days you get. Your results scorecard is published on day 1 of every single month. No excuses, no exceptions. This creates an intense, non-negotiable focus on results. So, what are you actually tracking on that scorecard? Not fluff, not vanity metrics. You track the things that leaders and the C-suite actually care about. Things like proposal cycle time, cost per ticket, average order value. You have to tie every single AI initiative back to a number that matters to the company's bottom line. Okay, so now you've got the five-star plan. You know the principles for executing it right. But let's be real, you've probably got a dozen different ideas floating around, right? So how do you pick the right projects to even start with? Let's walk through a final toolkit that'll help you prioritize and de-risk everything. So before you commit a dime or a single minute to any project, you got to run it through this simple but really powerful filter. It's called the 4D AI Fit Screen, and it's a super quick way to score your potential use cases so you can be sure you're going after the most valuable and, frankly, most solvable problems first. And it's really straightforward. There are just 4 dimensions. Business fit: does this solve a real painful problem? Technical fit: is the technology actually ready to do this today? Integration feasibility: can we realistically plug this into our current systems? And adoption feasibility: will our people actually use it and trust it? You score each project from 1 to 5 on these, and it gives you a totally objective way to separate the winners from the pipe dreams. Let's make this super concrete. Take a look at these 2 examples. Automating ticket triage scores high on everything. It's a great fit, the tech is there, integration is easy, and people will trust it. But what about high-stakes legal decisions? Well, the business need is there, but the tech and adoption scores are way down. The screen is screaming at you, start with triage. It really is that simple. And one last thing, think of this as your final safety check. It's like a pilot's pre-flight checklist for any AI initiative. And the rule is simple. If any of these red flags are true for your project, you have to stop. You either kill the project or you rework it until the red flag is gone. I mean, just look at some of these. No single-sentence diagnosis, no clear owner for the use case, no metric and baseline to measure against. These aren't just, small details you can fix later. These are absolute, guaranteed project killers. This checklist forces you to have the right discipline before you spend a single dollar on tech. So let's wrap this all up. A good AI strategy isn't some 100-page technical document nobody reads. It's a clear, logical plan. It starts with a real-world business problem, it makes deliberate choices about tools and owners, and it is relentlessly focused on delivering and proving its value. And really, it all comes down to one simple question you need to take back to your team. Look hard at what you're calling your AI strategy. Is it a wish list full of buzzwords and cool tech? Or is it actually putting money in the bank? The answer to that, well, the answer is everything.